Yeah, this is Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. Thank you so much for joining us. So, money worries is the biggest cause of stress and worry in today's world, and we're going to solve those problems. So, thank you for joining. This is live on Money Meetup. So, thank you so much. We're going to discuss money mindset. We're going to discuss why money is the biggest cause of stress and worry and how you can solve that problem by thinking about how to become financial independent and retire early. So there's a concept called FIRE, which we talk about a lot on this podcast, the YouTube channel, and on my TikTok account. So money tips. And the aim is to solve your stress and worry by becoming financial independent and retire early. And this means that you have enough financial assets that are going to pay you an income so you don't need to work anymore. So in the old days, they called that retirement. And essentially, you want to be building up kind of property, money in the stock market, your pension. And there's lots of other alternatives that you can invest in that's going to grow over time, avoid being eroded by inflation. So it's going to reduce your financial anxiety, and it's stop having you living paycheck to paycheck. So it's having you stop feeling you overwhelmed and understand, essentially give you a clear kind of picture of where you're going to end up. So what your goals are, and to improve your tax benefits. There's lots of tax benefits out there. Think about your pension, think about your ISA allowance, and how to improve that over time. So you can actually use your tax efficient wrapper that the government encourages you to do to improve and get closer to that goal of being financially independent and retire early, where you can have time freedom, you can have freedom of choice, where you can choose what to do on your in your time, and to essentially to reduce that stress and worry, have more time with your friends, your family, have more me time doing the kind of the things you always love to do. So just really having that kind of buffer to kind of cover yourself. So getting more money confident, having that financial freedom, peace of mind, where time is on your side. So you're not having to go to work, that 9 to 5 drudgery where you're kind of commuting in, commuting out. And by the time you get home, you're too tired to even kind of do the things that you've always wanted to do, those kind of that me time, maybe start a new hobby, learn a new musical instrument, maybe you want to go on a holiday with your friends. Having kind of quality family time, not having to kind of stress with with your loved ones. You're traveling all to and from. You can have spend quality time with your family, realize your dreams, and living in kind of stress-free, worry-free, comfortable retirement. So having that financial security that's going to kind of reduce your stress and worries. This is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to think about how to invest wisely. And so think about why to invest. Essentially, it's for a better life, for freedom of choice, and essentially to pursue happiness. So happiness is kind of purpose plus progress equals happiness. So think about having a better life. So when we think about it, when it comes down to it, after kind of friends and family, the quality of life is all that matters. Kind of how you work that enriches you rather than kind of that you're stressed from, and having that freedom to spend time, not having to being stressed and worried all the time, having that happiness of maybe friends, family, having more experiences, having those nicer things that you're not having to kind of scrimp and save. You can have enough assets that are going to kind of pay you back over time. That's the real key. So, and it's giving you time to choose how to spend your life. So this is real key. So in the old days, they called that retirement. Today, that's kind of been blown out the water. So the old model of kind of work a job all your life, and then at the end of that job kind of get a handshake, carriage clock, and a guaranteed income has kind of been that myth has kind of gone out the water. So in my kind of I talk about this a lot in my book Millennial Money Mindset, where essentially the millennial generation, Gen X, as well as the kind of Gen Z coming through, it's going to be a very different world that we're going to live in compared to kind of our parents' generations. It's essentially building up that kind of resilience and having kind of that reducing that stress and worry. So essentially, it's coming down to happiness. So what I teach money coaching. So it's not financial advice where you give specific one-to-one guidance. It's not an kind of accountancy where you're kind of checking their taxes and their tax returns. It's not a solicitor where you're kind of looking at kind of their wills. I guess it's a combination of all those in one. So money coaching, where you can teach them how to invest rather than there's so many good platforms out there, so you're not worried about one specific platform. You can use all the different platforms. There's so much wonderful technology that you can use, reduce your stress and worry. It's automate your finances to essentially give yourself more me time, so you don't have to kind of scrimp and save and kind of worry. So it's about learning to avoid common mistakes so you can reduce your stress, and also to reduce your costs as well. So costs can be, if you go to the wrong platform over long term, that's going to cost you tens of thousands of pounds over your investing lifetime. If you can pick a low cost index tracker, that's going to reduce your costs massively rather than paying us an expensive financial advisor. You kind of think about how many you're going to be paying for the expensive financial advisors, city broker lunches, his expensive suits, their expensive holidays, rather than you becoming financially independent and retire early sooner. So it's giving you clarity. So I essentially meet with what I do. I meet with one-to-one. I do one-to-one meetups where we go through your financial plan. We go through essentially we build a life plan for you. And then I send that to you. So essentially you can save tens of thousands of pounds over your investing lifetime, keeping you keeping you accountable. So this is what I used to charge as a financial advisor. So I used to charge 5% initial fee and then a 1.9% ongoing fee, which is madness, absolute madness. So what I used to charge, used to get lots of, for me, I got, very well paid for that. But yeah, it wasn't fair for the consumer. So that's why I started Money Tips, to give you kind of fairer, more kind of reduced, rather than spending lots of money on expensive fees. I'm going to pass that on to you, the consumer, and talk about the best platforms out there. So that's what we talk about a lot on essentially in my book, Millennial Money Mindset. What we're going to talk about today is the 5-step method. We're going to just really briefly talk about the 5-step method of money mindset. So number one, so ownership. So money mindset. So this is, if you want, I'm going to boil it down, how to get kind of better money in your pocket, more time in your day, and more stress or less stress in your life. So I use a 5-step method of money mindset with my book, Millennial Money Mindset. So please go on Amazon, please buy Millennial Money Mindset. It will give you the 5-step methods. I'm going to reveal it all just in a moment. It's available on Kindle. It's available on print, as you can see, and it's available in Audible. So go on my website, moneytips.org, go to moneytips book and buy it through there, the 3rd edition, and we plant a tree for each book bought. But number one is ownership. So money 5-step method. So ownership. So if you think about ownership, so think about, you need to own yourself first. You need to own, the owner is the person who's going to get rich. Okay. If you want wealth, you need to have ownership. So think about the landlord collects the rent, the business owner collects the profits, the person who has, millions of pounds in the bank, he's collecting interest. You need to be the owner rather than the renter, rather than the borrower, rather than the person who consumes the business. You're as in the product on the business. So ownership is really important. So number 2, dream big dreams. So dream big dreams, and as you dream, they will become. So dream big dreams. So begin with the end in mind, start with the end in mind. So understand where you want to get to. Think about your goal. What's your goal in mind? We're going to go through in a moment about how to become, what's your financial independence number, and we can talk through that. But dream big dreams, know where you want to get to. It's amazing what we can achieve in 5, 10, 15 years time, even just by taking action today. So if you can think about 5 years ahead, where you want to get to, where you want to be, that's going to put you in massive good stead for the future. So number 3 is survival. So what is wealth? It's understanding how long you're going to survive for. So when you become wealthy, what does wealthy mean? Wealthy means that you can survive for a decade. If you can have enough assets that are going to pay you an income, if you've got enough property, enough companies in the stock market that's going to pay you a dividend, you're going to survive. You're going to be able to survive for 10, 20, 30 years time without never needing to work anymore. If you've got nothing in the bank, then you're going to have to go out to work for a living. This sounds so being wealthy essentially is having enough assets that are going to pay you an income so you don't need to work anymore. So that might take you 10, 20, 30, 40 years time, but that's essentially what happens when you retire. You have enough, you've built up enough of a investing pot over your lifetime, and then you can essentially retire and live on that. In the old days, you'd get a kind of a pot of money and you'd have that income every month. Okay, that's number 3, survival. Number 4 is diversify. And this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to go exactly into diversification. So now people talk about diversification as the single biggest or the single only a free lunch in the world. So diversify is the only way. Essentially, if you have a number of different assets all working for you, it's like a team of assets going to work for you. If you have property, you have money in the stock market, if you have money in the bank that's generating you an income, then you are not going to, your stress and worry is going to be reduced massively, because if you've only got, because you're going to have lots of different diversification in your investing team. If you've only got one share, if you only own one share, one company, and that company tanks, then you're going to be stressed and worried about that. If you've got property, if you've got money in the stock market, if you've got money in the bank with an emergency fund, you're going to be in good stead. You're going to have much less stress and worry. So number 5, and the hardest to understand, diversity. Sorry, just making sure my handwriting is readable. Diversify. So number 5 of the money mindset method is rebalance. So what does that mean? So a lot of people think that investing is about buying and selling, trying to time the market. So don't try and sell, rebalance. So don't try and sell when you buy something, just keep hold of it. And then you only need to sell it. And basically what you want to do is rebalance 90 minutes every year. So what we're going to teach in the book is, my book's called Football Finance, Manage Your Money in 90 minutes. So all you need to do, if you get good at investing, if you know what to do, it's so easy today to automate your investing. You just need to spend 90 minutes a year to rebalance your portfolio. This is what I teach you in the book, and this is what I'm going to go through today. So you want to basically automate it, so you only need to spend 90 minutes a year rebalancing. And that might sound difficult, and maybe it is, but this is exactly what I teach you. So how does that sound? So money tips are different. So essentially, we educate and empower better investing. So it's guidance, not advice. So specific advice is what I used to teach. I used with FCA regulated conduct authority, but I saw a gap in the market where essentially there was, if you can teach people how to invest rather than give specific advice, you can reduce the fees that you charge to people. Use the platforms that are available, and essentially you can reduce their fees, and it's going to save you tens of thousands of pounds over your investing lifetime. So we use evidence-based research. So there's 5 Nobel Prize winner economists that I use in my card game, Football Finance, that my book that I talk about. We use trusted platforms. So we use FCA regulated platforms, all protected by the FSCS, which is really, really important. So the FSCS, which is essentially if you have over £85,000 in a bank or investment platform, and that bank or investment platform goes bust, you can claim that back. The government will pay that back under the FSCS. So essentially, that's going to really reduce your stress and worry, because you've got trusted platforms that are regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority. That's really important. And all the ones we talk about in my training program, and what I do by one-to-one clients, and what I do in the group sessions that we do, is we give you the best menu, essentially the menu of the best tried and tested platforms out there. That's going to save you time, save you energy, and reduce your fees as well. So think about long-term wealth. We don't believe in get rich schemes. We treat your money as if it's our own. So and essentially it's money coaching. So keeping you accountable, reaching your financial goals with expert coaching. So I give one-to-one coaching. I give there's an investment course is available now. If you want to go and invest your money and you just want to understand, get all the best tips, all the best techniques. So you can go on my website, moneytips.org. You can go on my investing course available. You can join a monthly membership. So these are, we meet every month. You get also, I've published 40 books. You get a book a month, all books like Science of Getting Rich, Reminiscence of a Stock Operator, which is one of the best books ever written. It's about he was one. It's autobiography about someone who made their millions in the stock market crash in 1930. He basically became the richest man in the world. It's a super interesting book. Leonardo da Vinci, Henry Ford of a life planner, and also trading platform. So trading planner. There's also a podcast called Millennial Money Mindset. Millennial is spelled 2 L's and 2 N's. So please download that. There's loads of value on that podcast. I interview the kind of the best people in the financial space. We have Oxford University professors. I interview kind of comedians. I interview kind of financial writers. We've got loads of really interesting people. So yeah, it's super interesting. Or go on my YouTube channel, moneytips.org. Oh, sorry, Millennial Money Mindset is 2 L's, 2 N's is my YouTube channel, or moneytips.org is my website. Tips with 2 P's. So just really briefly go through, we've got 4 different platforms. We've got economy, a premium, a first class, and a platinum service, all with different services. So if you're interested in that, then please let me know. I won't go into that too much. Here is my website. So moneytips.org, there is loads of value on that. There's my blog. I've got a library with some of the best books ever published. There is, you can go on my learning courses. You can find my learning courses straight there. You can email me if you want one-to-one coaching, or go on there to buy my book, Millennial Money Mindset. If you one thing you do, please go and buy my book, Millennial Money Mindset. It was shortlisted by the Financial Times, a £15,000 writing prize, and it will teach you how to invest, understand your money mindset. So super excited to say my book, Football Finance, Manage Your Money in 90 Minutes, is I've soft launched it on Amazon. So I haven't started publishing, promoting yet, because I'm going to change the front cover. I've got a company in India, a publisher in India, that is working on my front cover at the moment and some illustrations. So I'm not going to print it until that's all ready. So I'm super excited. But what we're going to talk about today, essentially, we're going to go through football finance, which is really exciting. So football finance. So manage your money in 90 minutes. So the aim of the book, essentially, everyone's busy today. So the aim of the book is to give you a simple breakdown of how you manage your money in 90 minutes. So think of it, when I first started, my friends would essentially meet up and say, Neil, I don't have time to invest because I don't have time. And then they would go and watch kind of a windy, wet football game on a Tuesday evening. And essentially, so I'm going to get a drink. So I basically boiled all my concepts into a book. And I've actually created the world's first investing card game around a football game, which is going to talk about some of these concepts today. So think of it like it's a football analogy talking around finance. So imagine a football pitch. So if you live a good life, you live to 90 years old, like 90 minutes on a pitch. So 90 minutes. So a football game lasts 90 minutes. If you live a good life, you live 90 years old. So you can have extra time if you're lucky enough to live past 90. So you've got 2 boxes. Think of 2 boxes. So essentially you've got your pension up here. and you've got your ISA allowance down here. So you can invest into either of these boxes, okay? And then elsewhere is your invest is outside these boxes are essentially not in a tax wrapper. So number one, as essentially the player. So think of these like 11 players on the pitch. So there's a number of different asset classes. So asset classes are things like property, the money in your pocket, or you put money in the stock market. So essentially there's 11 different asset classes that you can invest in. So number one is essentially you. So you are your greatest asset, and you can do things like reading. You can actually go and read a book. You can go and buy Millennial Money Mindset. You can improve your knowledge, your skills, your expertise, and you can make yourself more valuable. So if you learn how to invest, essentially that's going to actually put in 10, 20 years time, that's going to put money back in your pocket by having that knowledge, by reading the book Millennial Money Mindset. Then essentially that's going to give you skills and learn how to invest, Millennial Money Mindset. And you can go to school, you can get education, you can go to university, you can learn new skills. Like you could learn how to code, you could learn how to write copy, how to write well for adverts. You could do things like be a website designer. And these are all going to be skills that you're going to learn. And then essentially the more you learn, the more you earn. So the more skills you have, the more money you're going to have in that you can essentially put into investing and spend more time. So number one, really importantly, is you. You are the greatest asset. And you can go even further and think you can have your mindset. So how you think about money, and then action, how you can actually action. So you have your inner game, which is essentially your money mindset, how you think, feel, experience your life. That's your inner game. And then you can have your outer game, which is how you actually put your money in, how you actually spend your money. So that's one. Number one is you as an investor. Okay. So number two is money. So you go out, you earn a job, you go earn money. So the next stage is that you get money for that. You get paid, and then you can choose how to spend that. So you can go and choose on a big lifestyle or a small lifestyle. So if you have a small lifestyle, then you're going to have less expenses. If you have a big lifestyle, you're going to have more expenses. There's no right or wrong. It's up to you as how you can live your life. So that's essentially cash. You should have some emergencies in your fund. So if the worst things happen, you lose your job, car breaks down, you can pay for those expenses. Okay. So that's number one. So then you have three paths, essentially, how to invest your money. So hopefully that makes sense. So you can buy, so you've got cash, you can have bonds, you can have dividends, and then you can have property. So these are next. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the next players in your pitch. So bonds is where you're lending money to either government. So think of it, premium bonds is where you're lending money to governments. You can lend it to different types of government, the UK government, the American government. And if you want to go riskier, you can go kind of more risky governments like Argentina, for instance, where they've defaulted on their loan before. You can invest in corporate bonds where you're lending to big companies like Tesco's, for instance, where you're lending money. So that's bonds. That's part of how you can invest. So another one is you can invest in money in the stock market. So when you invest in the stock market, you're investing in businesses. Your business can buy businesses from all around the world. It's never been easier to invest. So you can invest in stock markets. The good thing about businesses, they will pay you a dividend. They will pay you part of the profits. Okay, so you can get part of those profits back in dividends. That's good news. Then, or you can buy property. You can go out and buy a property. Property is crazy expensive, so it's harder to do it these days. I live in Oxford. The price in Oxford is really expensive, or London, but that's an option. Okay, you can get a mortgage. You can buy a property. That's another thing you can invest in. Okay, then the next stage, so you can buy commodities. So think of these like gold or oil. You can buy oil or wheat, for instance, and then you can buy index tracker. That's tracking the market. So far we've got commodities and then tracker here. So think of these like you're coming back to the football analogy. So commodities are really, really volatile. They move up and down the pitch really fast. So it's not for everyone. Not everyone is wanting to invest in commodities. Gold has been really safe and solid for thousands of years. So actually, even though it seems scary, it can be quite safe. I used to trade gas for Shell trading. Gas is one of the biggest volatile commodities that you can get. I made £940,000 in a day because the market was so volatile. So think of it going up and down the pitch like up and down the pitch like a winger. And then you can have an index tracker. Think of the market going up and down. It's going up and down. The market goes high, the market goes low. This is tracking the market. It's one of the easiest things you can do as an investor. Okay, and then you've got absolute passive. Index is passive. Index tracker. You're just tracking the market. Then you can have an active investor. If you want to think about taking a bit more decisions on your, this is active investor. So you can go and think you might want to invest in kind of different kind of areas, different ways to invest. You can do things like fundamental investing. You can do like technical investing. There's loads of different kind of, once you learn about investing, there's loads you can do. I won't going to go into all the different types of investing you can do now, but it's going to go into much more detail in the book. And essentially the aim of active investing is to outperform the market. So yeah, it's beating the market essentially. And then your two strikers is growing countries and then growing companies. So think of these like your strikers of the pitch. It's not very clear there. It hasn't been. Yeah, so hopefully you can see that. But essentially, think of like if you want to get more risk and more return. So the higher risk, the higher return. So things like growing countries is higher risk. So think of like China, India, South Africa. Like this is high risk, high reward, but in the long term, it's going to go up over time. Think of even the African nations. If you invest in the African nations today, in 20 years' time, they're going to be growing massively because it's the way if you ever studied geography, it's the demographic transition model. Essentially, it becomes developed and developing, then it comes developed. So that's growing countries, and growing companies. So think of Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Samsung. All these weren't companies 20 years ago, but they're huge now. So think of how big Netflix is. That makes lots of money. That makes lots of profits. And you can start thinking about the next generation of companies. They're quite big now. You can grow by growing companies, thousands of companies all around the world that are growing. That's going to be the next big thing. And you can essentially make money from that. Okay. So essentially that is football finance. And the main thing is working out your goal. So I probably should have started at the start. So think about your goal. What are you aiming for? What is the goal you're aiming for? So for many people, to have a good retirement, you might need hundreds of thousands of pounds, which sounds a lot of money. You might, if you want a comfortable retirement, you're going to need, hundreds of thousands of pounds that are going to pay you an income. So when you stop working, that's going to you're going to generate money. The market goes up over time. If you look back hundreds of years, I'm going to show you a graph in just a moment. So hopefully that makes sense. That's called Football Finance. And my book is, you can buy it on Amazon as Kindle, but it's going to come out really soon. I'm going to release 100 print editions of that. It's going to come out really soon. So the nature of work and lifestyle is changing faster than ever before. So I've had this quote since I've been doing these talks over 6 or 7 years, and it's never been more relevant. So what is taking place is a revolution. So everything as you know it will change in the coming years. So the nature of work, lifestyle, and wealth is changing faster than ever before. So this was from an author called Daniel Priestley. I've gone to his training program actually, and he talks about how there's entrepreneur revolution where we're starting to more people are kind of having their own businesses, which is great. The internet has kind of unleashed a lot of creativity, and people have their own business, which is great. And the oncoming AI, kind of think about AI, is it's never been more relevant to understand these key skills. And this is why you should start thinking about investing your money. So start setting. So if you thought not sure where to start, so start first of all, buy Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. Go on Amazon and buy it. It's the 5-step method, but it's going to help you set financial goals, plan your financial journey, clear and achievable goals, beginning with the end in mind. Know what you're going to get to. What goal do you want? Do you want a big lifestyle? Do you want a little lifestyle? So this all seems quite complicated, but pick five of these. You might want to invest in property. You might want to invest in the index tracker might seem really interesting to you because you can just track the market. You can spend your time doing other things, not kind of thinking about investing. Or you might want to look at property. Property is really expensive, but there are ways to. You don't have to buy in Oxford. You don't have to buy in London. You can buy it up north. It's much cheaper to buy. There are ways around it. You can think about how to improve your skills so you're going to get paid more money when you do a job. So you're going to get more money in your pocket, and that means you're going to retire earlier. So choose the right vehicle. So understand different platforms. Investments can go up as well as down. Don't get caught buying one single stock. So make sure you understand market volatility, course corrections. I guess the main thing is don't fall for there's lots of pitfalls and potholes that you can kind of trip up on. That's going to take you longer. If you invest in your education, go buy the training course, go buy Millennial Money Mindset book. It's going to put you in good stead. It's going to, in 10, 20 years time, you're going to be kind of in a better position than you were. So looking back, I've got a graph here that's going all the way back to 1789, and essentially it shows you that capitalism has been a good thing over time. So invest in human innovation, ingenuity, invention. So humans are great at kind of solving problems that occur. Capitalism has done really well over the last 200 years. So you can invest in capitalism. You can just buy the market. You can just track the market, FTSE 100 or Dow Jones, or you can. You don't have to get don't get too complicated. Don't try and you can use your ISA allowance and actually, don't get too caught up in the kind of the kind of complexity that it can get into. So, and reduce your risk by 60% by not buying one company. So when we first talked about it, we talked about when I bought lastminute.com during the internet boom and bust, and by having that one company, because it's gone lastminute.com, I lost and sold because I only had that one company. Diversified. So remember coming back to the 5-step method, diversify. Diversity is number 4, and have that diverse portfolio so you're not stressing out and worrying. So technology means it's never been easier to invest. So think about all the kind of platforms out there. AI is going to make it much easier, but there's still going to be a human element. So understanding your kind of purpose and where you want to get to was going to be really important. So that's why I kind of build a life plan around you, ask you kind of providing questions or provoking questions. So think about where you want to get to long term, what you want to do with career, what you want to do with your kind of family, what you want to do with your lifestyle, when you want to retire, when you want to, do you want to be going traveling? What do you want to be doing with your kind of things going ahead in the future. So think about your financial independence number, know where you want to get to, and essentially think about your retirement length. How long do you want to retire for? How much income do you need? And how much kind of taxes do you want to pay as well? There's ways to reduce your tax bill by doing things legally that the government encourages you to do, like using your ISA allowance, using your pension. These are really good. And if you can think long term, that's going to put you in really good stead. So think about different investments as well. Investing it's never been simpler. So by having kind of money coaching, it's going to improve confidence and money around investing, security, you know where you're heading, reduce that stress and worry around investing rather than paying for expensive financial advice fees or fund managers that are going to kind of erode your wealth and erode, you're going to get you longer to get you to retire early. So think about how much assets, so financial assets, can provide you an income. So think about property, think about money in the stock market. So I have different assets, things like I get royalties each month when people buy Millennial Money Mindset. I have royalties. I've got all these books, all these books here that I publish. So people go on Amazon and buy those books. They're some of the world's best books that ever have been written. Not necessarily me, but I find the kind of the greats from the past, and yeah, people. That's money that comes into my bank account every month, and it's keeping that expenses low. So if you can understand how earnings, if you could, when you get paid more and more, and your earnings increase, to try and keep those expenses low, and that's really kind of key. So if you can do that, then you're yeah, that's half the problem. So that might be a lot of information overload. So, but yeah, just to highlight, my name is Neil Doig. I am the founder of Money Tips. We educate, inspire better investing. So tips, educate, empower, and invest. So tips with two P's. So think of, we give education on tax, investment, property, pension, savings. So tips, yeah, go to moneytips.org. There's loads of information. Go to my blog, go to the library, go to my podcast, Millennial Money Mindset, download Millennial Money Mindset. It's Audible or print versions. And we go through the 5-step method. So ownership, dream big dreams, survival, how long can you survive for without needing to work, diversify, and then rebalance. That's the 5 methods of money mindset. So I've got a money coaching package. So we have a card game, the world's first investing trading card game called Extra Time, which you can play. It's teach you how to invest in 6 minutes. So we have 4 different levels of service. We have the economy service, where if you just give me your email address and I can send you the investment, I send you my copy, bite-sized version of my book, and I'll send you how you can work out how long you're going to take to you invest, how long you're going to retire. So you can do that. So, or first class service. So my name is Neil Doig. So please, invest for the long term and kind of think about any questions. So please ask any questions. Yeah, thank you so much. We do one-to-one services. We do. Please buy a book. Go on moneytips.org. Go to books, and then there's some of the world's best books. There's training courses, managing money in 90 minutes. One of my training courses is available for the price of pizza, for a takeaway pizza. So you can go and educate yourself and invest and actually improve your investing. Go and buy a Millennial Money Mindset. So have you got any questions? Please put up your hand or let me know. If you want a free gift, send me an email address to neildoig@moneytips.co.uk. Subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Millennial Money Mindset. Subscribe to Money Tips on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Neil Doig on LinkedIn, or Facebook, Millennial Money Mindset. Yeah, please stay in touch. Any questions? I'm going to stop the recording.